Hi and welcome to CBN4's Primetime News package for today. I am your presenter, Alden Christopher. Let's take a look at the headlines set for today. Import duty on building materials imported waived until June 19th. A judge strikes down sodomy laws in a Caribbean island. And in sports, the Champions League semi-final draw is all set. Stay tuned for these and other stories when CBN4's Primetime News and Sports Report returns. We'll be right back.
L'année sim tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV pe ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité. Aidez du bout de si maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You will expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention.
Welcome back to CBN4's Primetime News package. First up, Minister for National Security, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, has announced that amidst the challenges faced by the court system due to damages sustained because of the recent passing of the hurricane, both the civil court and the criminal court will reopen soon. Blackmore made the announcement at a press briefing held at the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's conference room at the Financial Center here in Dominica.
Which covers both at the civil level and at the criminal court level. The building, of course, the registry's building, even before Maria had some challenges, especially with the ceiling. We have been able to recover this building, and at the same time what we're doing now is ensuring that we install a proper ceiling, and the work is ongoing as we speak. What we have been able to do, and I'll just now turn over to the registrar, who will speak in greater details to some of the dynamics. What we have been able to do is to customize a section downstairs of the registry's building, and that area will house the civil court. And I want to report to you that all the works in terms of the construction that have been ongoing there have been completed.
Ozzy Walsh, the registrar at the court, expressed his sincere appreciation for the staff of the court, whom he says demonstrated their work commitment. Some of them, he said, partaking in recovery works. Walsh admits that the challenges are enormous.
Else to do work, we couldn't find personnel to do a lot of initial difficulties, so we could not get the work started as quick as we would have liked to. And the anxiety was within us, saying, okay, we want to open the court by December, by January, because we were anxious to do it, but then we met tremendous challenges, not being able to find materials, not being able to find the correct things to do the work. In fact, the minister knows that very well. We couldn't find 2 doors up to recently, doors we couldn't find to complete the works downstairs. We eventually found that the 2 doors last week, 36 by 80 doors. Much of the work in the civil court, which the Honourable Minister made reference to, has been completed. Downstairs has been retrofitted for the civil, to accommodate the civil court. As we know, the civil division of the Supreme Court operating in the Barracoon building, close to the post office. That building is still de-roofed. So we thought, rather than expending large sums of money to redo the roof and then do the repairs downstairs in the court, civil court, let's move the civil court to the main building, which would cost much less. And so said, so done. The work on the civil court is nearing completion. I would say 99% finished.
He reassures the general public that the court system will be operating under normal circumstances as soon as they are able to address issues that may arise in court because of the loss of important documents and files as a result of the hurricane. He added that one must be mindful that the extent of the losses were great, admitting that a number of files are yet to be discovered. Meantime, Minister for National Security, Reuben Blackmore, stated that part of the government's goal is to ensure that the Dominica Police Force is equipped with the relevant skills that are essential to our survival. Blackmore noted that the foreign police officers who responded to Dominica's aid after the passage of Hurricane Maria were trained in other fields as well. Blackmore believes that the provision of more jobs within law enforcement is a way of enabling quick and steady recovery.
I would have liked to have heard people like you ask questions to persons who actually misconstruing the idea of having additional police officers added to the police force, you know. And then you've heard expressions of Scarrett and Blackmore trying to have their own army. Notwithstanding the fact that coming out from Maria, so many things were said, isn't that so? And what we're trying to do, I mean, everything that has to be done has to be properly studied, you see? And then you have to look at the consequences of your action. But you will appreciate that our society over the years has emerged. I mean, I was a policeman myself. I would say even when I came back from university. And in those days, the war was not that developed. Poor boy was not that developed. You see, if you go down to Jimmy and Viewpoint, you see how the place is expanding. You go down to Portsmouth, and you see the prospects for development and what is being done now. And so these areas now would need greater focus in terms of policing. And then you're going to also need manpower, to increase the manpower, and added to that, to have specialized training and specialized departments. And then we don't have an army in Dominica. What we did.
Honorable Minister for Justice, Immigration and National Security, Reuben Blackmore. The Food and Agriculture Organization has funded a project here in Dominica to address the limitations faced by cassava growers in the country. Vimaran Extavor, Regional Project Coordinator for the Sub-Regional Office for the Caribbean, who hosted the FAO-funded workshop, explained that the project is aimed at building capacity and working in a value chain system.
Developing the cassava value chain in Dominica. This project began in March 2017. We launched officially in Dominica in June. And we are now, having post-Maria, coming back in to restart some of the activities to build capacity. So today we are working in identifying the key stakeholders in the cassava value chain and discussing the issues and the constraints that exist in the industry. More importantly, what we would like to do is to identify a value-added product.
She explained that more importantly is identifying a value-added product of interest in Dominica that we can pilot market linkage. According to Extavor, this process is also a market-driven process by which they can address their constraints.
Of processing capacity, post-Maria currently cassava processors, their equipment, their processing facilities have been severely hit, and as a result they are quite limited in their capacity. So even though we are looking at mapping the process today, one of the biggest constraints is that we ought to have constraints is planting material and availability of planting material for production. Some people also have cassava in the ground, but because of the processing issue, cannot process it. And then others have the issue of planting material. But market access and markets, while markets exist, being coordinated to get to the market is also one of the constraints. So one of the key recommendations is to establish what I would call a national value.
The project coordinator says that one of the recommendations that she has made is to implement what she calls a national value added coordinating mechanism. And stay tuned, we'll be back with more news after the break.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
Les moun qui ni TB estene et ben toussé, moun qui en bonne santé oli ouin ka respire se vermine là. Moun qui pa ni bon tempérament, kon sa ki ni maladie HIV, alcool, ka fumer, ti mamay e grand moun, bien sensible pour ces maladies ça là. Moun qui ka toussé ni pou prendre précaution les yo en parmi moun en place publique, couvert bouche ou le ka estene et toussé. Visitez docteur et ben place santé. Fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joine guérison et puis maladie TB. En responsabilité ou aider du bout si men maladie TB et HIV, protéger corps et les autres.
Welcome back. Zamon Stedman, one of the participants who attended a certification program organized by the Drug Prevention Unit on Drug and Violence Prevention, Treatment and Rehabilitation, says that he felt the program benefited him greatly. According to Stedman, the issue of drug prevention is an important subject since it's an issue that plagues all societies.
As actually it was the first one that's been done in Dominica. It is vital because we actually get to meet with people, well, young persons especially who have been involved in the use and abuse of drugs, and also to go out to these communities, form groups, and educate them, not just normal everyday young people on the block, but also implement the programs in schools as well. So we go and teach them about the use and abuse of drugs.
Stedman explained that certification is just as important to him when addressing these subjects. According to him, it is an indication that you have been trained to some degree to speak on certain subjects.
It's important because actually we have something to prove to everybody else that we did good for the training, but more so what from our perspective now, what we're going to do, form a national committee. So basically we're going to be implementing programs for the whole of the entire of Dominica, now that we are certified to do so.
Stedman admits that the program does not only promote personal development, but it equips young people with the needed tools to make a change in another person's life. Climate change and the region's response were among the topics discussed during the working sessions of the 16th Conference of the Governors General and President at the Marriott Resort this week. ZIZ News spoke with the President of Dominica, Charles Savrin, about the significance of these discussions. He said there must be a regional mechanism in place so that neighboring islands can offer swift assistance to countries that are hit by hurricanes. The President of Dominica also thanked the St. Kitts and Nevis country for the assistance given after Dominica was severely impacted by Hurricane Maria. President Savre said reconstruction efforts are underway and essential services are up and running. To get the full details on this story, visit our CBN4 website at cbn4.com. And also in the news, in a bid to allow homeowners and the private sector more time to obtain the resources and materials they require to recover and rebuild their homes and businesses respectively, the import duty on building materials imported privately or commercially has been waived until June 19, 2018 by the government of Dominica. Hurricane Maria caused significant damage to the housing sector here in Dominica, with the World Bank-led post-disaster needs assessment estimating damages and losses at around $1 billion. Meantime, to facilitate the unimpeded inflow of relief supplies included food supplies, clothing and furniture, the Dominica government had previously exempted payment of VAT, customs service charge and environmental surcharge on selected items. Import duties, taxes and VAT on the commercial importation of food were also waived. This was followed by the waiver of these duties and taxes on the commercial and non-commercial importation of building materials. These concessions came to an end on March 20th. And the government of Dominica will be seeking a much closer relationship with the church after the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerrit, announced the introduction of a Minister for Ecclesiastical Affairs, a new key portfolio. This, the Prime Minister said during an address to the nation, is in direct response to the calls by many for a much deeper incorporation of Christian values and principles into every walk of life, including but not limited to the functioning of government and especially in the everyday management and operation of our schools.
There will be a Minister of Ecclesiastical Affairs, and that person's remit shall involve the strengthening of relations with the church, as well as the incorporation of religious studies and programs into all facets of the society, not least of which will be our schools.
The Prime Minister strongly believes that much of today's crime and other antisocial behavior stems from a real and perceived dumbing down of the role and involvement of the church and related institutions in nurturing values and influencing lifestyles and attitudes.
I am very excited about this new construct, and I look forward to a much closer and stronger relationship between the government and the church, and for society as a whole to benefit from the expected transformation that will be derived therefrom.
Honorable Catherine Lady Daniel will assume the position of the Minister for Ecclesiastical Affairs, Family and Gender Affairs. She previously served in the capacity of Minister of Social Services, Family and Gender Affairs. We'll be back with more after the break.
L'année sim tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV P ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité. Aidez du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
If you're HIV positive or have an STI, having unprotected sex with multiple partners puts them in grave danger. You will expose every partner and their present and future partners to HIV or another STI. Use a condom every time you have sex. You can live a productive life even if diagnosed with HIV. Remember, early detection is key to your survival. Be responsible, protect yourself and others. Help stop the spread of HIV and other STIs.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
Les moun ki ni TB estene e ben tousse, moun ki en bonne santé oli wen ka respire se vermine la. Moun ki pa ni bon tempérament kon sa ki ni maladie HIV, alcool, ka fume, ti mamay e grand moun bien sensible pour ces maladies ça la. Moun ki ka tousse ni pou prendre précaution le yo en parmi moun en place publique. Couvre bouche ou le ka estene tousse. Visitez docteur et ben place santé. Fini tout traitement yo ba ou sa joindre guérison et puis maladie TB. En responsabilité ou aider du bout si mais maladie TB et HIV. Protéger corps et les autres.
Welcome back. In the region, Judge Devendra Rampersad of the High Court of Trinidad and Tobago ruled on Thursday that sections 13 and 16 of the Sexual Offences Act are unconstitutional as applied to adult consensual acts, a ruling that stands to decriminalize homosexuality in the country. A final judgment and exactly what happens to these laws will be made in July. Sections 13 and 16 of the Sexual Offences Act prohibit buggery and acts of serious indecency between two men, with punishments of up to 25 years in prison if found guilty. The sodomy laws are part of a tradition of homophobia in the country, with laws such as Section 8 of the Immigration Act prohibiting homosexuals who are not citizens from entering the country still in place. Thursday's ruling, however, is now viewed as an example for the rest of the Caribbean in the hope that they will soon follow in Trinidad and Tobago's footsteps. Nevertheless, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi has given instructions to appeal the High Court ruling. Around the world, Ecuador's president gave renegade Colombian rebels 12 hours on Thursday night to show whether 3 abducted reporters are alive or face a forceful response. The government on Thursday received photos from the Colombian TV station RCN suggesting the 3 had been killed. The journalists were abducted by rogue forces of Colombia's FARC guerrillas along the country's shared border on March 26. President Lenin Moreno in an emotional speech said, "If the government does not receive word on the team's status, we will move forcefully, not hesitating to punish these human rights violators." He spoke at Quito Airport upon his return from a regional summit in Peru. "The clock starts clicking right now," Moreno said. And sports comes up shortly. National cyclist Bram Sanderson will face his most difficult challenge in his young international career as he participates in the grueling race of the 2018 Commonwealth Games on Saturday. The race, which will be over 100 kilometers long, will be a test for Sanderson's speed and endurance. Earlier this week, Sanderson participated in the time trials and gave a good account of himself. But unlike the time trials, which were solo events, Sanderson will challenge some of the top riders in the world in an event built for team participation. The Dominica Football Association has advised that the presentation ceremony of football equipment for all women clubs on the island has been rescheduled. The event will now take place on Saturday, April 14th at the Patrick John Football House. The presentation ceremony was previously carded for today, Friday, but rescheduled due to circumstances beyond the association's control. The event will now take place at 10 a.m. Liverpool will play Roma in the Champions League semi-finals with Bayern Munich facing Real Madrid. The Reds, who beat Manchester City 5-1 on aggregate in the last round, will host Roma on Tuesday, 24th of April, with the return leg on Wednesday, the 2nd of May. Arsenal will face Atletico Madrid in the Europa League semi-finals, while Red Bull Salzburg meet Marseille. The Gunners will play the first leg at home on Thursday, the 26th of April, with the second leg a week later on the 3rd of May. The Europa League final will be in Lyon, France on Wednesday, the 16th of May, with the winner guaranteed an automatic place in next season's Champions League. The Champions League final will be held in Kiev, Ukraine on Saturday, the 26th of May. And that takes us to the end of today's Primetime News Package and Sports. On behalf of the entire CBN4 team, I am Alian Christopher saying thank you for watching and join us again the next time.